could do it herself and gave her a hand. As soon as we had her shoes tied, we followed the others down the corridor that ended at the dining area and kitchen. By the time we got there, the chief had turned on a few of the battery-powered emergency lights and was examining all of the breakers in a hidden panel. The others were waiting for his verdict.
"Everything's good in here," said the chief. "It has to be a power failure on the mainland. I think we should wait to switch on the emergency generators until after we have to. We all figured this day would come, so let's start conserving now."
The words had barely left the chief's mouth when we felt the floor of the kitchen shudder. There was a concussive thump from somewhere, and we knew as a group it had to be something that happened outside.
"Forget conserving," said the chief. "We need the cameras on now."
He ran by us in the direction we had all come from, while the rest of us ran for the living room. As soon as the power came on, I had the camera views appearing on the big monitor. It didn't take a rocket scientist to figure out something big was happening out there. We had cameras all around the island, and we could use them day or night. They came in really handy when we needed to know if there was trouble nearby. The infrared views on the oceanside camera showed a dark beach with a few of the infected dead lying in the sand. It was odd that none of them were standing, but we watched as they struggled to their feet and began staggering in our direction. All of them walked toward the center of the island as if they were being drawn toward something.
"Why were they on the ground, and why are they all coming toward us?" asked Allison.
Allison was Tom's wife, and she was probably the least likely of us all to have survived the infection that had devastated the population of the world. Jean had told me privately that Allison was mousy, and she would have been killed a long time ago if not for Dr. Buss and his shelter. Dr. Buss had built a shelter like ours, but it was located in the mountains of North Alabama.
"I don't know," said Tom, "but there are only a few things that can attract the infected like that. I wonder if that thump we heard has anything to do with them coming this way." "That thump you heard was a whopping big explosion," said the chief.
We were so intent on what we were seeing on the monitor that we didn't notice when he came up behind us.
"Ed," he continued, "switch the mainland side cameras from infrared to normal vision and then put them on the screen."
"It's pitch black out there, Chief. How are we going to see anything without infrared?" I asked.
"Unless I miss my guess," he said, "there will be plenty of light out there. That's why the infected are all trying to go that way."
Even though I wasn't entirely convinced the chief was right, I did as he said. The camera views on the mainland side came up on the screen, and they were all much brighter than we expected. We had 3 cameras on the island that faced the mainland. For months they had given us our best views of the Russian naval vessel that was still parked between Mud Island and the mainland. We called the waterway that ran from the north to the south on the mainland side our moat. It kept the infected dead and the unwelcome living from walking straight over to Mud Island. To our surprise, the place where the Russian ship was parked was engulfed in bright light. The Russian ship was burning and beginning to list toward us. Kathy leaned in closer toward the screens and said,
"Someone bombed the ship. The infected on the ocean side of the island are being drawn toward the light. I wonder who did it."
"That's what I think," said the chief. "And one of the first explosions probably damaged the power lines that crossed the moat. That kind of firepower had to be military. They either thought the ship was a hostile or they knew it was a floating death trap, so they hit it hard."
"And it doesn't get much worse than that," I said. "Now we have to go to generator power and hope we can survive off of that."
"It's not all doom and gloom," said the chief. "We have enough fuel to last 2 years if we don't run too many appliances at the same time. I imagine Uncle Titus planned on living off of seafood when he built this place, but we just have to find another source of food to replace it."
Uncle Titus was the relative who had left this shelter to me in his will. He died before the apocalypse he was anticipating, but he gave me a chance to survive. I met the rest of the group by accident, and even though I didn't know it yet, I had gotten lonely after only a few days. The chief, Kathy, and Jean had floated up in a raft, and I couldn't turn them away. That was a good decision because Jean was going to make a father out of me in a few months. When Titus built the shelter on Mud Island, he had a waterway dredged between it and the mainland. What had once been a marsh was now a deep river that entered an inlet at the northern tip.